Okay, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Planning Committee of Bassetlaw District Council. A warm welcome to any members of the public who have tuned in to view tonight. We have the one application, which we will get to as quickly as we can, but we do have some business to conduct first. And we will start with a roll call to make sure that everyone is connected. So, Councillor Brand, are you with us?
Yes, Chair, I'm here.
Councillor Challoner.
Thank you, Chair. Present, thanks.
Good. Councillor Charlesworth.
Present, Chair, thanks.
Councillor Fielding.
Present, Chair.
Thank you. Good. Councillor Freeman.
Present, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Oxby.
Present, Chair, thank you.
Councillor Richardson.
Present, Chair, thank you.
Councillor Sanders.
Present, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Schuller.
Present, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tomlinson.
Present, Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I speak for everyone when I say welcome back after your period of illness, Councillor.
Thank you very much indeed.
And I am Councillor Pidwell, the chair of tonight's meeting. We also have a number of officers to assist us in the decision making. So, Mr. Krozak, who is the Planning Development Manager, are you with us?
I'm present, thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Steve Wormold, the Council Solicitor.
Yes, present, Chair.
Thank you. James Lavender, the clerk for tonight.
Present, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. And Linda Daw, our facilitator.
Present, Chair.
Thank you. The facilitator's job is to keep us all connected. If for any reason we lose connection, the meeting will be adjourned for 5 minutes and we will resume. Okay. First agenda item is apologies. Do we have any apologies tonight?
Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Mike Quigley. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And item 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any by members, Mr. Wormwold?
No, none received, Chair.
Are there any to come in tonight from any member? No, thank you. And are there any, Mr. Wormwold, by officers tonight?
No, Chair, none declared.
Thank you. So agenda item number 3 is minutes of the meeting held on the 3rd of February. These are in the pack. Can I take it that these are a true record unless anyone wishes to raise an issue or point out any error or additions that need making? Okay, so they are passed as a true record. Agenda item number 4 is minutes of the Planning Consultation Group meeting held between the 25th of January and the 8th of February. And they are found on pages 11 to 18 of the agenda. And for members of the public, the Planning Consultation Group is a subcommittee of this committee, which takes decisions on a number of less serious applications before us. Those minutes are provided for information. Agenda item number 5 on page 19 is the outstanding minutes list, and those will be actioned in due course. Agenda item number 6A is the public interest test. Mr. David Armiger, Director of Housing, Neighbourhoods and Regeneration, has deemed that all the reports on the agenda are not confidential. So that takes us to agenda item 6B, which is appeals decisions. We've had one received, and this can be found on page 21 to 25 of your agenda. And I'll ask Mr. Krozak in a minute to just say a few words about it. But can I just make one correction on page 21? The inspector is actually a woman, not a man, as implied by a reference on page 21. Okay, Mr. Krozak, do you have anything to say about the appeal?
Thank you, Chairman. Just a quick summary. The appeal related to a property, a traditional detached property that sits within East Markham Conservation Area. It was proposed to develop a dwelling in the rear garden area of that property. Officers considered that the surrounding area was characterised by strongly defined street frontages with dwellings facing the street, and also its low density character, and refused planning permission on the grounds that the development as proposed would be contrary to the character of the surrounding area and also detrimental to the character of the surrounding conservation area. And the inspector agreed that the proposal would result in unacceptable harm to the conservation area, concurring with our officers, and therefore dismissed the appeal.
Thank you. Is there any member who wishes to make a comment or observation on this appeal? I see some shaking of heads, so I will move on. Thank you. So this now takes us to the application, which is found on pages 29 to 41. It's located at Larwood House and the surrounding land on Larwood Avenue in Worksop. The proposal is for the refurbishment of Larwood House to modernise the facility internally and externally, to erect two-storey extensions and carry out associated landscape works. The flats will be reconfigured to provide larger, modernised living accommodation and provide updated communal facilities, re-roofing and recladding works to upgrade the facade. Mr. Krozak, when you're ready, we'll be able to outline this, please, for us.
Thank you, Chairman. Larwood House is an independent living community that currently consists of 32 studio apartments and shared facilities. The site is owned by Bassetlaw District Council. Larwood House was constructed in the early 1980s and consists of a range of interlinked single-storey and two-storey buildings. The building is currently finished with buff brick, grey concrete tiles and white UPVC windows. The site lies within a predominantly residential area. This is an application for full planning permission for the refurbishment of the building. The proposal comprises the erection of two-storey extensions and the reconfiguration of the existing flats, along with re-roofing, rendering and recladding of the exterior of the building to upgrade this and modernise the exterior of the building. This slide shows the site outlined in red and demonstrates how the site relates to the surrounding residential properties. This slide shows the existing site layout, so you can see the existing trees within the site depicted on the drawing, and also the access and car parking areas. Access is taken from Larwood Avenue, and that would remain as existing. This slide shows the proposed site layout. The proposed extensions are of a quite modest scale in comparison to the host building, and wouldn't result in a significant increase in the footprint of the building. this slide shows the existing north and east elevations of the building. This slide shows the proposed north and east elevations of the building. The proposed elevations show how it is proposed to modernise the building, altering the fenestration, adding Juliet balconies and finishing the exterior with cedar cladding, render and a dark grey roof tile.
John, could I just interrupt because Councillor Fielding has raised her hand?
Okay, I couldn't see that, Councillor Pidwell.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not getting any of these slides whatsoever.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why, but there you go. I just thought I ought to make you aware.
Thank you. Is there any other member not getting the slides? No.
Councillor
Fielding,
yes.
I've got them. I've got these slides.
No. So I don't know why, but they haven't.
Linda Doyle, did you have some comments?
Yes, I was just going to say, as facilitator, I'm about 2 or 3 slides behind what's being shown on the live stream. So I think it probably, because of that, is just advisable to say it's perhaps internet connection. But I understand the live stream is correct, and possibly not helping Councillor Fielding at the moment, unless she's got access to the live stream at the same time, but without the sound on, obviously. The sound from the meeting and the to be able to view it, but I don't know whether that's possible or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor
I was just
Fielding.
waiting for Councillor Fielding to respond.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do that with what we've got, but as I say, it's just one of those things that it must be a glitch with the internet, because everything else is working.
You happy for us to carry on then, Councillor?
Yes, as I say, I do know the area well.
Yes, I'm sure. Yes. Okay then, Mr. Craddock, do you want to carry on, please? Perhaps recap on the existing slide.
Thank you, Chairman. So, as stated, this slide shows the proposed north and east elevations of the building, and in the drawing shows how it's proposed to modernise the exterior of the building, altering the fenestration, the addition of Juliet balconies, and then the addition of cedar cladding, render and a dark grey roof tile to the exterior. This slide shows the existing south and west elevations of the building, and this slide shows the proposed south and west elevations of the building. In terms of the actual extensions, it might be better if I try and actually highlight them on the drawing. If I can highlight those. I did this earlier, so I do apologise.
That's okay.
Because the extensions are fairly modest, it's hard to pick them up, and because of obviously the exterior alterations, it's quite difficult to pick the elevation, the extensions proposed out of the elevational drawings. So I know it's rather crude, but I'm just quickly highlighting the proposed. So that is roughly where the proposed extensions will be positioned. So it's that portion of that section of the building, a small extension proposed here, and then a 2-storey extension proposed here, and that's just for members' clarity. So I'll just switch back to the slideshow. So just for members who may not be familiar with the site or didn't have the opportunity to visit, just a few photos on the next few slides, just to show the current state of the site and how the buildings appear currently. So they're very much of the rear, and as you can see, finished with a buff brick with a concrete roof tile, and UPVC windows, and also there's been a UPVC conservatory added to the building at some point previously. So excuse me. Moving on to the report, consultee comments are summarised within the report on page 32. No objections have been raised by any of the statutory consultees in respect of this proposal, and no comments have been received from members of the public. Page 33 of the report sets out that the principle of a development is considered to be acceptable, and the development would constitute a sustainable form of development as it will enhance specialist housing provision within the district. Pages 34 and 35 of the report set out that the development is considered to enhance the character of the site. Whilst the proposal would constitute a considerable change in the appearance of the building, it is considered these would modernise the appearance of Larwood House, and the development is considered to meet the design requirements of policy DM4 of the council's local development framework and the guidance contained within the PPF. It's proposed to remove one silver birch tree from the site, and that's to facilitate the extension to the western elevation. However, all of the trees will be retained. A minor area of scrub is also proposed for removal. These works don't raise any concerns visually and could in any case be carried out without any form of planning consent. Page 37 of the report sets out that the proposed cladding has an excellent fire resistance rating and would ensure the fire safety of the building is not compromised. It's therefore concluded that planning permission should be granted subject to the conditions outlined from page 38 onwards. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, thank you very much. And do we have any pre-committee questions from members tonight, Mr. Crozo?
No questions received prior to the committee. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And as I understand it, we don't have any speakers for this item. Is that still correct, Mr. Lavender? Yeah.
That is correct, Chair.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So it's now open for members to make comments, and as usual, I'll go around in alphabetical order. So, Councillor Brand, do you have any questions or comments on this, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Going back to the original site plan, and that's a map that's also included in our packs. You illustrated the area ringed in red. What's the building to the left of it on our plan, or south of it? Sorry, I'm not quite sure whether I'm north, south, east or west here, but you know, the other building within the crescent.
Mr. Crozo?
So, Councillor Brand, just for clarity, obviously you've got the site plan included with your agenda, and that's hatched.
Yeah.
Is the building you're referring to within that?
No, it's just outside it, but close to it. It's just not clear to me what that is.
It's further accommodation. It's further accommodation owned by Bassett Law District Council.
Okay.
So it's not part of this site or this use, but it is council owned housing.
Right, okay, that's fine. Chair, having asked that question, I have no further questions to ask.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Challoner.
Thanks, Chair. It's just basically a comment, and I'm glad that John's obviously mentioned it, to do with obviously the cladding, that obviously it's going to be up to a fireproof standard, because we know there's a lot of things happening throughout the country as regards cladding on buildings and things like that. So it's good that obviously that even though we don't come under the legislation, obviously, for the height of the building, we are taking all the safety procedures and precautions and putting them in place. Thank you, Chair. And thanks, John.
Thank you. Councillor Charlesworth, do you have any questions or comments, please?
I don't have any questions. I know I'm familiar where the building is. I've been round and had a look. Everything's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fielding, do you have any questions or comments?
I would agree with Councillor Challoner. I'm really pleased that the paragraph is in clarifying about the cladding, as I say, with that it is meets what is and more than what is required. So, as I say, it's a word that would cause concern due to what has happened at Grenfell. So, as I say, I'm pleased about that. But also, as I say, it's a very good report, and it's excellent to see that facilities are going to be modernised for the benefit of residents. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Freeman, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I agree with David Challoner and Sybil Fielding about the cladding. That's the only thing and it looks like it's been well done. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Oxby, any questions or comments, please?
Thank you, Chairman. No comments, questions, observations now or at any further stage in the meeting. I'm content with the report, Chairman, and the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Richardson, any questions?
Yes, just one. On the map, John, is it a warden's house that used to be there? I know it's a separate one. Is that included in it's obviously included in the new build, but if you show the one that you did with the circles round, you can actually see it looks like a house on there. Is that originally part of Larwood House, or was it the warden's house?
Let me see if I can pull this back up.
As you can see,
I'll go back to the site plan.
Yeah, because it's on the side on Larwood. It's on Larwood Avenue itself, and it's the house as you come round from the hospital way, cutting in. It's on the right hand side, and you can see it as you come in. At the top.
Is it?
No.
Is it this one where
No.
Here.
That one, yes, John.
Yeah, that would be part of the refurbishment.
Because that's already 2-storey, isn't it? The same, and it looks like a house anyway. So that's part of it. So that'll obviously be made into the flats as well, rather than being a warden site, because we don't really have wardens many around now, do we? We have a rotarish thing going round.
In terms of the accommodation, it's all being reformatted inside. So basically, the number of units will be reduced. There will still be wardens accommodation in building, from my understanding.
Right.
But the units would be reduced from 32 to 18.
Yes.
And that's just to make them larger units, to give residents a greater level of residential amenity, and just to make them more usable for residents for the future.
Yeah. I just wondered if that was going to be connected to the actual site, that's all, instead of actually being a warden's house there, that was all. But if it is, that's fine. But I'm in agreement with it all, because I go around there quite frequently, and the number of number of take-ups on that place is really bad. There's not many in there now because nobody wants them anymore, and rightly says in the report. And it's a good report, John, so I'm pleased with that, and I hope somebody has a warden in there to look after everyone as well, not as it taken away. No further questions, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. That brings us to Councillor Sanders. Any questions, Councillor?
Thanks, Chair. No questions, but I'd just like to agree with the comments that colleagues have made about the cladding.
and it is a good report, and I am pleased to see that this refurbishment is taking place. Thank you. No further comments.
Thank you. Councillor Schiller, any comments, please?
Hi. Condition number 4, John. Is this explicit or can it be changed with the direction of working hours that we've seen post-COVID?
The relaxation in working hours post-COVID, it is temporary. So that's my understanding, that's until May of this year. So if construction on site commences and the developer would like to extend the working hours, they would be able to apply to us separately for that. And there's no cost involved in that, and it's a very quick turnaround in terms of decision making. So obviously that's a temporary extension of working hours. So we're looking to impose this condition just to protect residential amenity throughout the development, but should the developer see fit to apply for an extension for longer working hours, we'd certainly consider that separately.
My concern is it's really quite close to other residences, isn't it? And I'm thinking if we extend working hours too much, it would really be impacting on the close neighbours, wouldn't we?
It may be the case that we would refuse any extension to working hours on the site. We have to have regard to site considerations and constraints. So yeah, I do acknowledge your comments. There are dwellings in very, very close proximity to this site, and it may not be appropriate to extend the working hours. So that would be a consideration should the developer apply to extend them.
Yeah, okay then, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tomlinson, any comments or questions, please?
You're on mute, Bill.
Bill, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Seems finger troubles are order of the day. No, I have no questions or comments to make at this time.
Thank you very much. It's worth waiting for. Thank you. Okay. Given that round of questioning, I will just throw it open now, I think, in case anyone else wants to make any further comment. And Councillor Schiller has indicated.
Yeah, there's just at the end of the report, it's a note to applicants that we would like to see electric vehicle charging points. Why can we not put this within the conditions? Because I would hazard a guess that with our forward thinking, we would want to see an electric vehicle charging point, at least one on this site. Why not? Why are we not thinking of putting this in conditions?
Yeah, good. Mr. Krozak.
Thank you, Councillor Schuller. If this was going to be a new build development, we'd certainly be looking to impose conditions requiring electric vehicle charging points to be installed within the site. But because this is solely a refurbishment scheme, we've just got to consider the impact of the extensions and the refurbishment itself, and it doesn't allow us to impose conditions requiring further landscaping, for example, or additional facilities such as charging points. It wouldn't be reasonable having regard to the development that's being proposed.
Okay, Councillor Schiller, do you want to come back now? Okay. Councillor Brand has got her hand up.
Yes, sorry, Chair. I said earlier on I had nothing else to say, but just in the light of the discussion we've just had about electric vehicle charging points, this comes just at the very time when the District Council is consulting on electric vehicle charging points. So although we might not be able to make it a condition, as it's council-owned development, I would have thought we could have a bit of weight to, to comply with what the council is doing in other areas.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Councillor
that.
Grant.
Go on then, carry on, Mr. Crozat.
Apologies. Yeah, obviously we want to encourage the installation of charging points within the site, and that's why the note's included. I don't think a condition would be reasonable in this instance, but yeah, we certainly do want to encourage it, and obviously the council is considering the installation of those, and there's a consultation at the moment. So hopefully this site will be future-proofed, and that will be given full consideration.
Thank you. Councillor Schuller?
Can we word it then that we strongly recommend that they put electric vehicle charging points in, rather than that it's encouraged?
Is that okay, Mr. Crozat?
If members would like to see that wording, I wouldn't object to that.
Okay. Are members happy to? Thank you. Are members happy to make that change? Yeah. If you're not, please speak up.
I don't know if I've got an opportunity to speak.
You have.
But it is the coming thing, vehicle charging points, and they are infinitely more easily installed when the major construction work's going on, rather than get it all finished, signed off, and having the photographs taken publicly, and then have to go and dig up all the new pavements or road surfaces that may have been renewed during the refurbishment. It's just a small thing, but cables are underground, and that does mean digging up what's in the way. It's just a thought that so many times in my working life have we gone back and dug up brand new surfaces to lay a cable that should have been put in at day one. That's all really, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you. Good point.
Well said.
So by the sound of it, that's as far as we can go in the planning process. But of course, we are councillors and we can take whatever action we wish to, can't we? We could write to Councillor Scuthern. I guess it comes under his remit, and encourage him to make him aware of our feelings on this.
Chair, I've just got one more comment, if it's
possible. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Obviously, Chair, we've spoke about these electric points for cars, which is great. Is there, obviously, with it being a fairly big site, a big building, is there any plans to put solar panels or so that energy can be created from sunlight for free that can be put back into the national grid, whether it's via it makes a reduction in cost to tenants, or whether there is some financial reimbursement back to the council for redeveloping this infrastructure?
Mr. Crozat, can you answer that?
There are solar voltaic panels proposed as part of the refurbishment scheme, Councillor Challoner. So you would be approving them as part of this development should members vote to approve planning permission this evening.
Thanks,
okay,
Chair. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see anyone else wishing to speak it, but I might have missed someone. Is there anyone wanting to speak? Okay. We will go to the vote, and the recommendation we're voting on is to grant permission subject to the conditions outlined on pages 38 to 40 with the amended note. Okay, I'll go around then. Councillor Brand.
Yeah, I agree with the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Challoner.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Charlesworth.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Fielding.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Freeman.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Oxby.
Thank you. 4.
Thank you. Councillor Richardson.
Thank you. 4.
Thank you. Councillor Sanders.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Schuller.
I'm in agreement, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tomlinson.
4, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And I too vote for this recommendation. So that is carried unanimously. Thanks. So a planning permission is granted for this development. Thank you. The final item on the agenda is any other business, and I haven't been notified of any. So that concludes the meeting. And I'd like to thank you for your attendance and participation tonight. So good